Miss Jamaica.
But you was a young thing.
Young?
Not saying that you were.
Look, man, if it was based on looks, you would have no idea that Fae Ellington has been in media for 44 years.
Oh my gosh.
Something not right.
No.
Yeah. She's here this morning and we celebrate her. And the first question I want to ask her is what in our coffee tea morning time keep her so young?
I was telling some people in the green room that I come from country, and on a morning like this, after I go and tie out the goat, I would eat like 2 guava, or a bunch of rose apple, or a piece of cane, or you pull up a carrot and rub it off and you pedal push a bottom and eat it. And I am convinced that that kind of foundation has helped me tremendously.
You couldn't tell us that from a long time? How long we know you?
Look how long I know I come from country.
You couldn't tell us that was the secret all along?
She know we not going to tie out the goat.
And then I know you may have to walk over a hill to go to school, exercise. I'm still a hill walker.
Yes.
Well,
when your feet allow you. When your feet.
That's another matter. But you know, I wanted to just tell you something.
Yes.
I was officially introduced to media in 1974, but I was introduced before through the Jamaica Information Service, because as a student at the School of Drama, a few of us were chosen to demonstrate or act out various government segments in the programming, because GIS in those days had half-hour television programs that were live every evening.
Wow.
Half-hour. People like Tony Robinson and Tony worked with me, and others. Peter Ashley and others, you know, Doreen Brown was there. But half-hour every day, live. And so some of us who were students were asked to come in to play parts, and so that certain programs could be properly explained.
Is that where the love of media began, Faye?
I don't know. My schoolmates at St. Hugh's will tell you that they are not surprised that I ended up in theatre and in media. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. In third form, I thought about law, but obviously, no, it wouldn't work.
Why, Chuba? Why?
I tell you why. You have to study at night time too much. I'm okay with studying a script, but I can't bother go through the cases. And there's something that we have to do to defend people. I mean, not defend no criminal.
Yes.
Mark, you don't have to do that one. You can choose and do something else.
So is which country you're hearkening to country?
Smithville in the hills of Clarendon. Right?
Clarendon, you know how really country.
But you can't come in when I go look for my mother. Anyway, but when I officially got into media now, was I had gone to School of Drama, as I mentioned, met Leonie Forbes. I was working as a cultural and recreational officer with the late Olive Lewin in the 6 prisons of Jamaica. And got a little frustrated with the process and speed and programming of the rehabilitation program and left. And then when I left, I thought, oh, okay, but I need to work. Oh, so 2 weeks into it, I started to panic because I don't have any relative with no whole heap of money. I have to work. And so I called through to Leonie, and she put me on to the late Dennis Hall. So she really opened the door. Dennis Hall did the auditions. So he first did radio. Of course, I nearly died. Auditions meant you had to read news, you had to read commercial copy, you had to read a bit of weather, maybe death announcements. And then when I was done in radio, he says, come, little one. So I said, yes, sir. He says, we're going to TV. Well, I did this. So
clearly not.
Brought me over to TV, did the audition, and I made an error, and I think I expressed myself in a manner which was not appropriate for television.
What did you say?
I don't remember. And he said to me, little one, is that what you would say if you made an error on television? And that was a lesson that just stood with me. You have to maintain your composure.
Little one.
I mean, Dennis Hall called me that. Wycliffe Bennett, who was one of my general managers at the JBC, but also guided me in a very profound way in theatre. People like Easton Lee, them the people there.
What was that experience like, Faye? Because we're hearing names of people that we've grown to see and love and admire, and you were with them on their journey in media.
No, they were ahead of me, guiding me. So you're on air, and when you come off, you say, here, call Leonie Forbes or call Easton Lee. You know you're going to get some level of guidance. Either something, usually. And they don't only call to say, hey, what was that? They call to say, hey, that was not bad. Or, look, you need to fix that. But, I mean, can you imagine sitting in the production room for radio at the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation? Who is sitting at the desk next to you? Guess who?
Who?
Miss Lou.
Yeah.
Miss Lou.
And Mr. Bennett used to call us before every rapping program went out. There was a guidance then. What has changed when you look at media now?
I think because they are, for radio, 30-odd stations, many of them are not being run as broadcast entities. They are being run as businesses. So you don't have, for example, for JBC in my early days, you had a director of programs and you had people monitor the station every step of the way. So any slip you slip, any nonsense you do, they would, be there. And any guidance, because you could have been, as a youngster on air, you could have said or done something that they need to guide you with. Yeah. So, but if nobody's monitoring, then they can't hear, or if they don't think money. And a lot of it now is money talks. Mark you. Yes, the station needs to make money. I know that. Yeah. But at the same time, you shouldn't compromise the standards because you need to make money. And people who are on air need to be guided. I use both my languages, as you know. But if you're going to be on air, I believe you need to have a good command of English, as you do of the Jamaican language. And by the way, sometimes it's not the Jamaican language I have a good command of. No. It is slang, which is different and part of,
And it must make sense too, because you're saying you're speaking Jamaican doesn't mean it has to be hodgepodge and,
not at all.
And jumbled and make no sense. So one of the things, Fae, that I miss is radio drama.
Yes.
And I know you'd have been a part of that.
Oh, Lord, yes. There was at the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation, there was a department of theatre. And Leonie Forbes headed that at one time. Then Charles Hyde headed that. And there were many radio plays. And television as well, don't forget. I remember Errol Lee and myself did a play called Sweet Dream Sandy Babe. Errol, I hope you're watching. And we went and we rehearsed in the studio. There are many plays with many stories. We rehearsed in the studios. Did the first rehearsal, second, did the tech, and on the go now, there was supposed to be a ganja spliff in the play. Another, leader, said somebody fix a ganja spliff in
a real one?
Oh, God Almighty, I'm nearly dead. And young ganja don't get on too well, the smell of it. And I said, what the hell? Another one of the plays written by the late Hall Anthony Ellis, who worked at GIS. Jesus, Paul Anthony. I was working with Miss Ashman, who was the front of house manager for NDTC, and she was very, very tall and statuesque woman. And as a little 16-year-old, that's the part I'm playing, and she's supposed to box me in the rehearsal. She do so. In the rehearsal, she do so. In I take rehearsal, I had a broom in my hand. You swing camera around, and Miss Ashman box me. The broom fly out of my hand. I full up of water. Something say, "Our back." You understand? And then I said, "No, you're in a character. You have to stay within." I said, when it's something done, I said, "Miss Ashman," and she said, "Well, the script say I must box you."
She was. Tell me about your role now as an educator. You talk about the folks who helped you along your journey. You helped some of us along ours, and you were a
what? I was a what?
You was a nice teacher. You were a tough
because not just tough for being tough sake, but tough because of standards and because of those I learned from. The Easton Lees, the Leonie Forbes, the Wycliffe Bennett, the Bobby Gisses, and I could go on and on. Because when all is said and done, we can't just think about standards as they exist in Jamaica or in the Caribbean. We have to think international standards. How do we fit into that rubric? And so I say to students who have had the pleasure over 33 years, I retired from Caramac full-time on July 31. I still teach 2 part-time courses there for final year students. But I say to them, what we are doing here, it's not preparing you to work in media in Dominica or Jamaica or Trinidad and Tobago, but internationally. Yeah. And so you have to understand that. Same thing with theatre in Odalia. Yeah. I say you need to save your money and go and see something on Broadway or off Broadway. I tell all the youngsters that. Yes, going to West End in London would be great too. And London is one of my favorite city, but that's more costly.
Because you were at BBC at one time, training
I was
there.
trained there in 77. Yeah. And I went back and did a course for training to train, so I'm certified as a trainer. Okay. You understand? And that was a great experience, yeah. Then the days, you have a phone, they lift up the phone, let me show you something. This is the recorders that you have now at half of this, right? Radio or a third of that. My love, we had a recorder named the UHER. German recorder, UHER. It like from here to here, so. And when you got beat, but we use it in Jamaica. That's what I did my radio documentary with here. But it was a reel-to-reel, heavy, and you're walking to do your assignments with this big everlasting thing over your shoulder, and your box of tapes, reel to reel, and your cut and paste, because whereas now you use a technology to cut and paste, it really came from the manual, the analog, where you actually had a razor blade, a special razor blade where you cut, you slice, you put it together, and you better make sure you put it together right, because if you not put it together, the splicing tape old, and you play the program, just fly, boom, and a dead ear there.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
You can't tape it back if you cut it.
No,
you can start me how to do that.
Yeah, but you can. You put it back together, and you have an angle. If you're doing music or speech, it's another angle when you're cutting. But when you finish that, then you need to run it off on a clean, new reel to reel.
This last few months with Profile, lots of people are very happy to see you back on television so very frequently. What has that been like for you, Vivi?
It has put me back where I have been over the different programs over 33 years, because that kind of interview format, it's something that I'm very comfortable with and I've had a lot of experience with. I remember, again at the JBC, there was a half-hour interview format that I used to do with Maxine Trotter as producer called Spotlight, and that would have been in the 70s. And then I had done, Gladstone Wilson had asked me to do a program on a Sunday called Sunday Swizzle. I called it that. That was on a Sunday. That was a 2-hour interview program. And I was interviewing one person.
Wow.
I had the pleasure of doing a number of people, including people like Michael Manley, you know, and Marjorie Wiley at that time. I had live music in that radio program. It was done at the poolside of the Wyndham Hotel.
Wow.
And live music to complement the guest.
Interview.
You understand? Mr. Manley's program, however, there are some guests you can't do in that kind of public setting because they'll be mobbed. So his was, we went to his house, and Peter Brown, who works here, was a tech op. He was there, and we went to his house, and he says, you know, Faye, I think this needs to be done in the bedroom, so we're not, because the acoustics of the bedroom were better. So I sat at the edge of the dressing table. He's there, Marjorie Wiley, I mean, everything, you know, the keyboard, everything upstairs in the bedroom, and Mrs. Glyn Manley. You know, and we had a really wonderful program. Brought tears to his eyes, because part of the thing about doing an interview that is personality-driven, it's not news or current affairs. You have to go for the human interest, the stuff, the emotional connection. And so when I told him, because everybody knew, well, if you did your research and if you listened, that the morning his mother died, he was jogging around the Mona Dam and he started singing a hymn. And this for somebody who is not particularly religious. Easton Lee had given his mother a recording of that particular hymn the day before, and she went to bed playing that.
Wow.
So that kind of, you know, it just, gives you some shivers there.
Yeah.
So we prepared the program, planned the program, and Margaret just started to play, and he says, and when I could see him holding it back, and then when he says, how did you know that? How did you know that? I said, well, it's a thing called research, Mr. Manley, because he worked at BBC too, you know, by the way.
Human interest, Auntie Faye. You met your dad when you were
21. He's now deceased. Of course, when that happens, I could find to say dad, because that was awkward. So my mother and my grandmother brought me up. He had gone, I believe, with the RAF, the Royal Air Force, when he went to England, got married to a British woman, came back, was teaching at Happy Grove. They had 2 toddlers. I think she died in pregnancy. Then him take up the 2 pit them and go back a country. It was like 3 miles from which part my mother there. Well, but then he went after, I think the scare of that, the scare, toddlers and pregnant again, in their take off, and went to St. James, Montego Bay, and taught at Cornwall College.
But irony of ironies, he was an MC.
He was, I discovered in the 70s that he was the MC in Montego Bay in the 50s.
A teacher?
So it's in your...
And my mother is in her own way, the village lawyer and teacher. I mean, people dare to remember until the eulogy and all, up until recently. She was on the school board until recently. She was secretary for the JAS, coffee growers, citrus growers, cocoa growers, right there in the district.
It all makes so much sense.
So everything, we understand everything.
So much sense now. Were they both dancers too?
Well, they both loved music, and my grandmother was a singer. I grew up with, my mother played an organ. We had an organ at home. In the board house, that when rainfall, depending on the size of the leak,
there was an organ.
Tin or bath pan or chimney or pail, depending on where the leak is. But there was an organ there.
Well, I love
music.
We have to go, but I have to tell you, her name is spelled Fae.
That's my mother's creativity.
Also,
Audrey.
the acronym for Fae Audrey Ellington. Work with Barclays Bank. We're glad she never stayed there.
No, I couldn't stay.
Glad she never stayed there.
They never put me on cash. She think they're the fool. But you know where I worked with Barclays Bank, and every time I see there's a particular gentleman, I had to change a bank over to computers.
Oh, what?
Don't joke with me. I'm not
Fell out of an Aki tree in the 1990s.
Yes.
Connected with the concrete. She said while she was down, she heard Miss Shirley say, Lord God, Miss Fae dead now.
It's true.
And of course, Miss Shirley follow up with the Jamaican remedy for everything.
Sugar.
Sweet sugar and water.
So this is the one that...
And the last thing I'm going to say, she lost her front tooth while watching the Jamaicans run in the heats in the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996.
Eating sugar cane. Because when you come from a country, you don't take knife and peel cane. Right, Benji? You take your teeth. And I'm watching my drawing room and I'm eating and I'm going through. And then I feel a little awkward. I mean, you can see it because that's not mine there. And I said, wait, a piece of cane trash is up in my teeth. I try. So some said, go about to and look. When I look, no tooth there. I said, but I get up this morning, I left my teeth right there. So.
I left that teeth.
Right there, so. So when I call in July, my dentist, Dr. Winston Hunter, him they on leave. So I go down there, and there was a gentleman who shared the place, Dr. Glaze. Film separate and said to me, oh, he really just does gums. I said, well, I saw some gum, me and look pan.
Yeah. And you had an event, was it that evening?
Yes, and Dr. Foot, Andre Foot, Grace McGee, my dear friend, said, me go on him do up a thing. This tooth cost me 3 different things because we had to do a temporary thing for me to do the event for Jamaica National in Spanish. So come back now, them have to do it over. I might a whole past stress and this.
You could have gone there with the gapless.
I thought
because
so.
you could have made it work.
Oh, you mean?
Anybody could have made it work.
So hold on, if I didn't find Andre Foot, what do you think I was going to do?
You'd have made it work.
Straight.
Made it work. What a joy.
A movie titled Fae.
And a book.
No, well, there are many of them that I'm trying to write. Now that I have a little bit more time, I just try to clean up the study.
Yeah,
please do.
I think the one I really perhaps need to do is what you're doing here this month. My life in media.
Yeah, please.
It's important.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Auntie.
And thank you for keeping it going every morning. I don't know, when I got up this morning, I said, but these girls are doing what I did, and nobody could pay me to get up early every morning again after doing it for 14 years. We're not crazy then again and again.
I don't want to.
And we are crazy. Actually.
Yeah.
Yes, Lindy Della Pena can't do this and don't say Lindy Della Pena. My partner in crime for 14 years on what was Morning Time, Now Smile Jamaica.
Yeah. And I had the joy of producing you both.
Yes. You remember them the days, Simone?
I do.
And we were at school together, by the way, Delia. We did a master's program together in communications. Nice. Can you imagine? She young and thing on me.
You should have copy of her.
The way you think me do sometime. I look over there and say, Simone.
It wouldn't turn out so well.
We could talk to Fae all morning, but we have to go. Mrs. Smile Jamaica will be right back. Philly, you just say, Simone, come on, I help you.
We need a dance. Go on there. We can't have Auntie Fae come here. We don't have a dance break to take.